Silicon Valley venture capitalist and billionaire Chamath Palihapitiya, who was an early executive at Facebook, has spoken about the impact of screen time on his own child and detailed how he resisted calls to medicate this child, instead taking away screen time with dramatic results.
One of my kids, and I'm not going to say who it is, we recently had them tested for ADHD. They weren't doing particularly great in school. The response by some of the folks in the school was, oh, there's meds for that. We're like, no meds. And what we did was we took away their iPad and we completely deprived them of all these apps and video games. I cannot describe to you the magnitude of the turnaround in this kid. Grades, incredible, where they were getting 60% and 70%, now getting 90%. Totally engaged, interesting, charming kid that had lost a little bit. And I think that there was a little bit of a daze. And
this is a known fact, actually, Chamath. I looked into this as well. It turns out students who used iPads and digital media many times a day, they show the exact signs of ADHD, inattention and hyperactivity and impulsivity. So
zero. Not like you can have a little bit here or there, zero. And the transformation in this last month and a half, 2 months has been incredible. I don't know if other parents are dealing with this, but what I'll tell you is these apps are not good.
Psychologist Clare Rowe joins me now. Claire, this is fairly profound testimony from a father and tech expert. What's your professional opinion about ADHD symptoms and the amount of time kids are spending on screens?
Okay, so beyond a doubt, there is research coming out, and this is the thing, it's completely emerging. So we're going to know the answer to this in 10 years' time. Could be too late for a generation. But there is research coming out showing that kids who have excessive screen time compared to their peers are twice as likely to be diagnosed with ADHD. Now, what our viewers may not realise is a couple of things about ADHD. One, we don't have a test for it. Okay, there is no test for ADHD. We don't have a brain scan or a blood test or something. It's based on self-report of symptoms. And the second thing is we don't actually know for sure how ADHD is caused. And in fact, we know that we may have been concentrating too heavily on genetics in the past. And we know that it's far more of an interplay between genetic vulnerability and your environment. So I absolutely think this happens. I think, is there a new subset or form of ADHD? Kids on screens are displaying ADHD symptoms. And I think that's because they live in this world, and even as adults, we know, right, where there is excessive kind of stimulation and we're switching screens and there's a lot going on. And then we come into the real world, which perhaps is a little bit of a slower pace and a little bit boring, and there's a little bit of irritation and inattention. So absolutely, I think, I've said it before, this is just another reason, the negative impact on screens, particularly on primary school age children, far outweighs any positives, if there are positives. And I think we're kidding ourselves if we're saying, oh, there's educational positives and we've got to teach them to be digital natives. I don't buy that argument at all. I think in the future we will look back and think we were just sitting 6 and 7-year-olds on iPads and it's destroying their brains.